Welcome back, pregame.tv. Steve Fezzik with Brady Kannon, who basically killed it in the U.S. Open, 11-3. And we went ahead and asked him to come back, talk about the British Open here. We are going to go to the other side of the pond here. Royal Liverpool, British Open. Brady Kannon, take it away.
Well, I am so excited about the British Open. It's probably, you know, my favorite major. The Masters and the British, whichever one is coming up is my favorite. But I love waking up early in the morning or late at night, whichever way you have to look at it, sitting there with a pot of coffee and watching golf for about 4 or 5 hours while everybody's still asleep. I love just the raw nature and the mother nature and the wind and the elements and just the raw openness of the British Open. I really think it probably takes the most special skill set of all the majors because I think it involves a little bit of everything off the tee, around the green. It's really just such a unique golf tournament, and I love watching it.
You know, I consider one of the greatest upsets of all time was that John Daly won the British Open.
Yeah.
Because I know it was a bigger upset that he won a crooked stick.
Right.
But when he was done with that, I said to myself, that buffoon will never win another major. No way. And the fact that he was able to win a second one is pretty amazing.
Right. At St. Andrews, which is really a bomber's course. Tiger won there twice, you know, so it's not a surprise that Daly got it done at that course. But yeah, you're right. 2 majors for John Daly. Pretty impressive.
We're thinking about bringing John on for at pregame as a handicapper, expert bettor, but then we saw
my golf partner.
It's a little south of 55 million lifetime in his gambling, so I think maybe that's not such a good idea. But we're going to do a little gambling on this Open. Talk to me. Who does this course favor?
Well, you know, I think more than any other major this year, especially, and probably true year in and year out, the British Open is the most wide open of all of them because, like I say, it takes such a different skill set. You know, you can't just be good at greens and regulation, or you can't just be an outstanding putter. You really have to have a little bit of everything. You've seen the British Open where guys are putting from off the green, or you're in a bunker that's an absolute hole and you have to hit out backwards. You're faced with different things that you don't see on the PGA Tour week in and week out.
I can appreciate it because that's basically my golf game, is that a bad 7-iron from just off the green for me is better than an average, you know, lob wedge that I try to put towards the flag. So,
all right.
And the same thing with the sand traps. I just try to hit for the middle of the green.
So that, you know, leads me to one area that I think will be important is scrambling. Because, you know, you're going to find yourself in the heather, the weeds, the rough, whatever you want to call it. You're going to find yourself in some pot bunkers. You're going to find yourself in different situations that we don't see over here in the States, and you're going to have to be a good scrambler. You're going to have to get up and down from those unique situations. I think you're going to have to keep your ball on the fairway. You're going to have to be an accurate driver of the golf ball. Now, the weather, I don't know if we're going to get a lot of typical British Open weather. There is a little bit of rain in the forecast for Friday, a little bit of wind, but I think for the most part it's going to be relatively calm. Again, you may get some overcast and some rain, but I don't know if you're going to have that brutal wind, and I think that'll maybe lessen the importance a little bit on keeping your ball in the fairway.
I know we've got props on what the winning score will be, so when I hear some rain, not a lot of wind, I naturally think under. Would you like the under?
Yes, absolutely. And there's, you know, we don't always see this at a major. For instance, the U.S. Open was a par 70 with 2 par 5s. Well, this is a par 72 with your traditional 4 par 5s. And, you know, at the end of the week, your winner might be 10 under on those par 5s. And if he can just not throw up on himself the rest of the golf tournament, you know, you're going to have a score that could be pretty low.
Why aren't there, like, a 680-yard par 5, or are there now? I think there are some getting close to that neighborhood. Yes, certainly. I mean, even here in town, I think there's some 600-yard par 5s. But yeah, in major championships, I think you're headed that direction. You have par 4s now that are 540 yards. Sure. So I think it's going to be great. I don't know if you watched in 2006, Tiger Woods hit 1 driver off the tee all week long, used his 3-wood and irons all week long.
I don't think he hit a single bunker, and that was his plan: keep it in the fairway, avoid the bunkers. And he was really at a ball striking prime portion of his career, and he just manhandled the golf course and went on to win by a big margin. It's going to be different this year. That year, the course was very browned out. It was dry and wispy. They've had much more rain this year. You're going to see a very pretty green golf course. It's not a beautiful seaside golf course. The ocean is not too far away, but it is inland a bit, but it has greened up a little bit. I think that'll keep some more balls in the fairway. But from what I've heard, it's still going to be a little faster, not as fast and dry as it was in 2006, but maybe a little faster than what some people are saying out there. But again, if we get some rain, that'll slow things down.
I'm a casual golf fan. I don't care about any of these guys, Adam Scott and all the boring guys. All I care about is Tiger Woods. I guess they got one channel devoted to him. That'd be the only channel that I would watch.
Right.
Is there a line? Of course.
There was a comment. What's any different than devoting a channel to him, because they show him constantly all the time anyway.
Well, I get to hear him cuss a lot more. Tiger Woods, do they have an over/under on his first round?
Well, there's will he or won't he make the cut, and I'm sure there is some under/over on his scores as well. But the one I looked at was will he or won't he make the cut. I think it was plus 190 that he won't, and minus 220 that he will make the cut, something like that.
Really, I would think the no. Would that be your thought?
Well, when I saw those, that was my initial reaction, and I think that's probably the bet I would make, but I'm not going to play it because I think what that tells you is the experts out there, the odds maker, is figuring he's going to finish somewhere in that 30 to 40 range, making the cut, obviously, but not really contending in the tournament.
Very good. Let's get to an actual bets that you did make. You've got one feature play here, Ricky Fowler.
Yeah, well, let me just tell you a couple things. First of all, interesting about this golf tournament, of course, at Hoylake is what they call it, friendly in England. It's in Hoylake, England, Royal Liverpool Golf Club. There's 8 guys in the field that played in 2006 that had one round of -4 or better. So you talk about, getting some low scores out there. Adam Scott had a round of -4 or better. He finished 8th. Angel Cabrera finished 7th. Carl Peterson finished 8th. Ernie Els back in 2006 finished 3rd. Hunter Mahan finished 26th. Sergio Garcia, Jim Furyk, and of course Tiger Woods finished 1st. So some marquee names there that had low scores back in 2006. They're going to be back again this year. Interesting, since Tiger's last major, I talked about this being a really wide open golf tournament, very hard to handicap because there's just so many factors that are hard to pinpoint what is going to take on this golf course to be successful. Since Tiger's last major in 2008 when he won the U.S. Open at Torrey Pines, there's been 15 first-time winners in the 24 majors since then. So not only do you have a wide open golf course, but it's pretty wide open as far as the field on trying to figure out who's going to win. If you're going to bet this, it's probably not wise to just go right after the favorites. There's probably guys that are 80 to 1, 100 to 1, 50 to 1 that could win this thing.
You better get someone at more than 15 to 1 at the very least, right? Because even if you, they would have had to have won more than once, obviously, for you to have made money on it here in the last 15. And with 15 different winners, that's not going to be the case. So.
Well, the matchup we're going to look at, and you know how that's what I do in the majors. I don't really play a lot of the futures. I don't think.
Maybe a roulette chip here or there.
Yes, exactly. A sprinkle as an homage to our old friend VR.
Mm-hmm. Why don't we make this an official pick, and then you can explain your rationale behind it.
Sounds good.
Okay.
We're going to take a look at the matchup of Ricky Fowler against Matt Kuchar. Fowler is the underdog in this matchup at plus 130, and that really does make sense because if you look at the stats and what I feel is important for this golf tournament, that's par 4 performance, driving accuracy, greens in regulation, scrambling, that type of thing. Kuchar really beats him across the board in the statistics, and Ricky is really not that good in all those statistics, but miraculously, Fowler has done tremendous in the bright light tournaments this year. He finished 3rd at the match play in Tucson. He was 5th at the Masters, and just a month ago finished 2nd in the U.S. Open to Martin Keimer. And just last week at the Scottish Open, Ricky Fowler was 8th. So Butch Harmon is his coach, and he's had him now throughout the season, and he's really taught Ricky how to play well in these marquee events. Ricky's been over there practice rounds with Mickelson all week. I think Fowler is going to show up big in a big event again, and I don't, on the other hand, think this is the best venue for Kuchar. Kuchar, a wonderful player. I think he's ranked 4th or 5th in the world right now. Had a great Masters, was steady in the U.S. Open. But I really think those tournaments favor his game more so than when you go across the pond and you have the elements and the difference of the British Open. I think Kuchar is really suited more so for a Masters, a PGA, or a U.S. Open. So we're going to go with the guy that has really found a way to play well in the majors, all of them, and that's Ricky Fowler. In his 4 trips to the British Open, he's done pretty well. In his 4 tries between 2010 and 2013, the only 4 years he's played in the Open, he's finished 14th, 5th, and 31st. He did miss the cut last year. On the other hand, Kuchar has finished 27th, missed the cut, 9th, and then 15th. But in 6 years prior to that, he missed the cut every year. So that's our pick. We're going with Ricky Fowler plus 130 in a head-to-head matchup over Matt Kuchar.
Excellent. And if anyone should know about golf, it is you, Brady Kannon. You're owner of LVTtimes.com. And I'm going to defer to you on this one. I did want to ask you, my sports options screen, I see all the matchups now with the rotation orders. How long have they been doing that with golf?
Well, you know, as long as I've been here in Vegas and looking at major golf tournaments, I've seen the head-to-head matchups. I really can't answer that question,
with
honestly.
The standard rotation schedule, though?
Yeah.
That used to be my pet peeve. I'm old enough to remember. You couldn't find anything. I need a rotation number, to find it.
Well, I think for years probably the LVH was the only one that posted them, and I know to this day the LVH is still the only book in town that will do the ladies and the seniors. But as far as the head-to-head matchups, they've been around as far as I have, which is 20 years here in Las Vegas. But just when I got involved really in betting in golf, I found out quickly that the matchups are the way to go.
Absolutely. Just because it's so speculative to try to pick the overall. It's almost like betting.
There's 156 guys in this field. And, again, we talk about how wide open the British Open is, 15 first-time winners in the last 24 majors. It's really a crapshoot.
Do you want to play in a poker tournament that only pays for first place?
Right.
Probably not.
Right.
If I get it, if I get
that's
the top,
a good analogy. I like that.
If I'm in the top 10%, I want to be able to have my head-up match against other people and go ahead and cash. As far as the women's, if Michelle Wie does well, then maybe we can start betting on it. Otherwise, it's the most boring sport other than soccer that I've ever seen. So excellent. We'll root for Kuchar plus 130. Not Kuchar. We'll root for Fowler plus 130 against Kuchar. Is this line going to get reduced? Should people bet it right away, or they wait?
Well, I think Kuchar's a pretty popular player, and I have seen a lot of people out there talking about Ricky Fowler. I would say this line will probably stay very close to what it is right now because I think these are both popular guys that people are going to have opinions both ways.
Very good. So he is Brady Kannon. I am merely Steve Fezzik. My golf game's not good. My golf betting, well, it's pretty good because I follow guys like Brady. He's 11-4. You can go over to pregame.com. Go ahead and get his golf package for all of the majors and the minors, for that matter.
Yeah,
right?
we've done a few minors this year. I'll have the British Open package up ready this evening, and away we go. And then, of course, a month from now, we'll have the PGA Championship.
Get the package. I'll personally guarantee it wins. If it does not win, if you spot me in Vegas, I will buy you in lunch. Get in line. I owe a lot of people lunches in this town. Having fun talking golf. When we come back, we're going to talk football. What everyone wants to talk. We're going to talk college football specifically. A huge addition to the pregame family. Stay with us. Pregame.tv.